So there appears to be a weird rift that's happening with TYT. I don't understand, but it seems as though that they are deciding to go in a different direction. Now, for those of us that watched TYT years ago, they were known as the home of progressives. Now are they deciding, I guess, to take a different course? Now, this is after Kamala Harris lost the presidential election and also lost the popular vote. It is almost as if that sent a message to them and they want to move in a different direction. Now, it was just over a year ago, I actually predicted that TYT would move in this way. And I said that because that, Anna was coming forward about a year ago about how she was upset with some of the positions on the left, more so the crime issue. She was very vocal about that, and homelessness as well. So I had made a prediction back then that I think they're going to try to do this angle. And it appears that I was right. Now, apparently, a TYT contributor has announced that he is going to quit because of the shift that they are deciding to make. What does that shift look like? Let's take a look. One of it is Anna, who was recently on Glenn Beck's show. Glenn Beck is right-wing media. He's a part of Blaze TV. This is one example, and then we'll show you one with Cenk.
In reality, we're talking about individuals whose politics is mostly based on, some fringe issue or some cultural issue that they have. It's not just that they care about that issue, it's that they've taken that issue and they've made it part of their identity, the core of who they are. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like what you would expect from religious zealots, and so there's a fundamentalism involved in the way that they treat these issues, and there's no room to negotiate. There's no room to maybe consider the thoughts and concerns of other individuals. And so as they become more and more kind of like authoritarian in what they demand, mm-hmm. they are pushing people away. And there are some issues in which the rights of one group might actually end up conflicting with the rights of another group, depending on what type of legislation you're pursuing. And so, of course, this has come up with the trans issue. And I've always been supportive of the transgender community, but when the rights of transgender people, particularly transgender women, start to cause some tension with the rights and freedoms of women or the perceived safety of women, well, let's have a conversation and avoid assuming the worst of the people who want to have that conversation, right?
So Kim Iverson, I actually should, I should invite Kim Iverson on to get her opinion about this. Kim Iverson at one point, may have been about over a year ago, was invited to the Glenn Beck show in person, just like Anna is there in person right now. And Kim Iverson posted about it on Twitter, and she was telling everybody like just how much money that they have on the right. I mean, look at his studio, right? Like, look at this. Like, she was like, whoa, like a whole big difference. Coming from, like the left and all that kind of stuff. And I don't even know if Kim considers herself to be left anymore or whatever she labels herself as. But I know she was talking about how enticing it can be when you're there in person and you see all that, right? So they do have a lot more money on the right. But this is one of the examples. Anna has been going on a lot of right-wing media podcasts, and I'm not one to tell someone that you should only talk to people that have the same political ideology as you, because I don't believe that. I don't think we really get anywhere by doing that. But what I do think is interesting is that we're seeing Anna and Cenk Uygur go on all these right-wing podcasts, but if you're willing to cross that bridge with people that support Trump and that are, call themselves MAGA or whatever, why aren't you willing to cross that bridge with people who are to the left of you? And that is something that I have noticed about TYT. They don't seem to be willing to cross that bridge with people who are to their left, like Marxists, socialists, people who identify as communists. I don't see them entertain with those individuals. In fact, I can see them sometimes on Twitter, take shots at people that have that political ideology. And my response to that my guess would be is because there's no profit there, because the reality is there's more money on the right. So them entertaining, let's say someone like Midwestern Marx, for example, who they identify as Marxist, Leninist, I think that would not be beneficial for the Young Turks because, again, like I said, the further left you go, the less money there is there. So further to the right means more money for them. And I think this is a way that TYT is trying to increase their subscriber base. Granted, it can cost them subscribers as well, but I think they could replace those subscribers with the conservative ones. So as I predicted over a year ago, I believe that TYT was going to move more in a direction similar to the Hill Rising and Breaking Points to build up their brand. Now, don't get me wrong, they have over 6 million subscribers, but I think when you're looking at the views, and I mean, they've been doing this for a long time. When you look at the views, sometimes like Breaking Points will get more views on videos than they do, those types of things. And I think people have just become tired of just trying still to support progressive strategy through the Democratic Party. And I think they've seen that writing on the wall as well, right? So another example here that you'll see is Cenk Uygur on the PBD podcast, where, you know, Patrick is asking him, are you now Republican? Listen to this.
So let's get right into it. Cenk, are you now a Republican?
Okay, so a lot of people on the left have that theory. The definitive answer is no. So look, I've been a populist all along, and what's fascinating to me is how much politics in America has changed. Because the left-wing populists, like the Bernie Sanders type of guys, have been standing a post waiting for our right flank to appear at some point. Because giant things like getting money out of politics, you cannot do alone. The left wing can't do it alone. The right wing can't do it alone. The only way to fix it is an amendment, because you got to go above the Supreme Court. You need 3/4 of the states. So for me, I've always thought, if we don't get united, we're never going to beat the establishment. And the establishment has been my enemy forever and ever and ever. And I wish we had beaten them, you know, through Bernie in 2016 or 2020. And I'm not saying that they're knocked out. I mean, the establishment is gigantic. They've got billions and trillions of dollars, and they're going to make a huge comeback in the 2028 primaries. But on the Republican side, they've largely been defeated. And so here's what my left-wing friends don't understand. They think you guys are all MAGA, and MAGA means it's a cult, and you're never going to disagree with Trump. You're never going to disagree with each other, and that you are like their father's Republicans. But you're not their father's Republicans. And so our side, I've been trying to get them to realize that Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, all these folks that take the money, they're not on your side. They're on the establishment side, right? And for you guys on the right, when I used to debate you, and I don't mean you guys in specific, I mean in general, all I would get is wall-to-wall talking points. Oh, Mitch McConnell knows what he's doing. Oh, John Cornyn is the best. Oh, you know, George Bush, Dick Cheney, etc. And we've been around forever. We're the longest-running show in internet history, right? We're the first YouTube partner channel ever. That makes me like the original YouTuber, right? Oh, wow. And so I battled the Cheneys. I battled all those guys in the Bush years, right? And then I hit Obama from the left, and people got super mad. I mean, that's part of the reason why I had the huge blowout with MSNBC, and I left MSNBC because they didn't want me to hit Obama, and they didn't want me to hit the Democrats. So I've been doing that from day one. And guys, today, I think that, you know, we could do something historic. I think that we could actually unite the left flank and the right flank. And I've got a model for how to do that, and I want to run it by you guys. I've got a couple.
Pause. Okay, so here's my take on this. When other commentators or journalists suggested this a couple of years ago about pushing back on the Ukraine war, or whether it was, you know, fighting against, you know, against Israel with the Gaza issue, when other people did this, it was Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian who came out against them and called them right-wing grifters, and oh, you guys are just trying to grift for a MAGA base and all this kind of things. Like, but now that they're doing it, now it's supposed to be okay. Because see, these are the same people who sat there pointing fingers at those of us that wanted to do marches for, when we did the marches for Medicare for all. By the way, they were contacted too. They wouldn't even let the organizers come onto the show to announce the event, the day of action. But they cared so much about Medicare for all. And they're like, no, that's not the way it's going to get done. So they've always been like, I feel like the grassroots has always been a step ahead of TYT, but TYT was always just trying to catch up and like doing what they thought would work well. I don't know if it's just with the viewers, but with their access, the access that they have to people, right? So that was something that I noticed as well. They weren't really trying to move, in that direction. Now, all of a sudden, after they've called MAGA people, all these different names, dumb, stupid, pathetic, racist, tyrants, now it's okay to want to work alongside those same people that you guys shunned us for trying to have a march for Medicare for all, across the country 4 years ago. So it just, I think that they owe an apology to people. I really think that they do. So TYT, they were the ones that really started like this progressive media. Like they were the big name, back in the day. And a lot of these other channels went through TYT before they became big standout channels on their own. So like even David Pakman's show at one point was an affiliate of TYT. Kyle Kulinski Secular Talk was an affiliate of TYT. So a lot of them went through that. Humanist Report was an affiliate of TYT. So the rule was or the unspoken rule was like, you would start with TYT. That's where you were supposed to start. They would reach out to you and say, I think you're doing a good job. And then, you kind of branch out on your own. So the problem with that, though, became that TYT in some way, shape, or form became gatekeepers. And so when there were those of us in independent media that wanted to do things, if the TYT side of the aisle didn't get the run through first, we were actually told that we didn't go through the proper channels. When we hosted a general strike summit over at RBN, people were yelling at us. This is before it even happened. People were yelling at us. We got attacked by Hassan Piker, who I didn't even know he knew who we were at the time, like saying you didn't go through the proper channels. And this is what they were talking about. So this idea that, how can they make fun of Dave Rubin now? How can they make fun of like all the people who left TYT and went over to the right? How can they make fun of those people?
Rules for the internet that I want to run by you guys. Rules sound bad, right? But hold on, I think you're going to like these rules. And then I want to see, hey, is there a couple of things that we can unite on right now on this show, make the show a little bit historic and say, hey, this is what the internet thinks. This is what the populace of the right and the left think. Let's go tackle the establishment and make it happen.
Okay, so before we do that, can I ask you a couple questions?
Of course.
So,
and we can pause it there. So you guys get where this is going, right? And they've been on a number of conservative shows. He's also been tweeting about this as well. But as I said, the theme is it's all coming out. You can see it at the chalkboard behind me because now a TYT contributor has come forward. I believe this was on Ben Dixon's show here. And he has some things to say about why he is done with TYT. And it's because of this move that they are making. Let's go ahead and bring in this clip here.
Also, right now, I will do no more work. I don't know why. Something just said, I will do no more work with TYT, though. In its current capacity, I will.
Oh, wow, bro.
No more content. I will be on no more shows. It's over for me. Like something just told me I have to say that. And I need to put it on Twitter. I need to text Jink and Anna. Y'all can't call me for no more shows. I'm done with
what?
It. Yeah, in real life.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Damn, that's 100.
I tell people, past couple years I've been taking paychecks from TYT. At this moment, I feel disgusted by that, dog. I don't like where TYT is right now. TYT is starting to act like, listen, I'm telling people right now, I have not severed my relationship with TYT. I'm being a buck. So what I'm saying right now might just end that relationship.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, I gotta say.
It's the anniversary night, nigga. We're not doing a relationship ending tonight. I'm with my family and I'm talking to our extended family. I don't really know what's going on over there, dog. Like I don't know if they had some kind of meeting or was it the Christmas party. Shows no more, then I don't give a damn because I'm not gonna be quiet about
the way that they're showing up right now. You took too
How
much,
are they showing up, Mondale?
like MAGA, like an extension of damn Trump. Like,
Well,
bro,
no, you need to
this idea that these people ain't white
give-
supremacists, like normalizing Trump supporters as if they ain't racist, dog.
Let me pause there for a second, because this is the part where I agree with some of the things he's saying. I disagree with some of the things he's saying. I don't agree that all Trump supporters are white supremacists. So, for example, all the black people that voted for Donald Trump, they're white supremacists too. For a lot of people, it's just about economics, boo. It's just about economics for a lot of people. So I think this is another thing that I think the Democratic Party needs to like get away from. And it's not to say you can't call out racism. Obviously, I call it out often on the show. But what I'm saying is that you have to stop making these assumptions about people. The same assumptions that they made in 2016, where Hillary was calling people deplorables and all that shit, that was not going to help you win. And as long as you keep making these assumptions about people based on who they voted for, this is why people push back on the Democratic Party and say, oh, you guys are judgmental. You guys are corporatists, even though corporate on both sides. The Democrats show it a little bit more lately these past couple of days, it seems like. You know, you guys are classist. This is why they say these things. So I think it's wrong to make that assumption that everyone that supported Trump is racist.
I am not okay with this. I'm not gonna be good with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski or Cenk or Anna or anybody pretending that these people aren't threatening our lives. I'm a black person first. They can keep that money for them videos. I'll go back to kissing my wife and not having it create videos in the afternoon. I don't care. It's not what I'm not comfortable. We should all be mad. That was the last beacon other than Democracy Now! And Free Speech TV.
That's right.
Talking about real progressive media. Y'all took too much money from the ethos. Y'all took too much money with too many billions of views to be doing what y'all doing right now.
Okay, let's talk about the money thing, because I think he's right about this. Remember, they took the $20 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg. That's not a secret. You know, Cenk has talked about that before as well. But they did get a lot of money. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, it is a network, and they were trying to make it bigger, I guess, than the mainstream, like bring people over to that instead of mainstream media. So I get it. I understand, but I wouldn't have taken that money. That's just me. And I've been offered. There are people who contacted me and offered me all types of things, and I have not taken it because look at what you see what's happening. Right. This is not to say that they shouldn't invite people on from different sides of the aisle, but it does seem very cool coming from you guys after you spent all these years calling Trump supporters and MAGA people degenerates and stupid and dumb and all those types of things. And now you want to coalesce with the same people that you were name calling. And you made fun of people that were saying the same thing you're saying now a couple years ago. So to me, it looks like a money grab to me, guys. It looks like this is their way of, okay, how can we increase our subscriber count? How can we increase more money over here in our pocket? I don't know, but you can't be TYT home of the progressives and we bash Trump supporters constantly. And now you're like, okay, we're going to be okay with working alongside Trump supporters. Of course, their base was going to get upset.
So I don't know who offered you a check or which check you're trying to get. But I'm disgusted by it as a contributor and a person who helped grow Rebel HQ, another money source for y'all, to over 1 million followers, dog. I average 30 million views a year on Rebel HQ myself. None of those views join my personal YouTube channel or nothing. So the pennies that they give me is not enough to make me sell my soul. I don't know what's going on. And if y'all are
the pennies that they give him. So this almost seems like a money situation too. It sounds like he's not being paid like what he's supposed to be paid. Maybe he think he should be getting more. I don't know what they're paying him. Random says, I see a lawsuit. I wonder, it makes me sound like, he brought up the money situation. So I wonder if he's not being compensated, fairly compensated. Let's see here. Oh, let's go back. I don't know what happened with the. Sometimes these
resource for y'all to over 1 million followers, dog. I average 30 million views a year on Rebel HQ myself.
We saw that
Bonafides, and I'm not talking about YouTube personally. I'm talking about everybody who say they part of the Squirrel Gang, the Dragon Squad. I need to know what's going on. We should be asking these questions, dog. And we shouldn't be asking these questions with questions. We should be asking these questions with the lack of subscriptions.
That's right.
That's right. In that manner, I don't give you enough to pay nobody's bill, but I subscribe at $100 a month. That's a big level from one person. When you got.
So this was something I was not aware of. Apparently, him subscribing at $100 a month. Like, I don't understand why people are doing this. Maybe someone in the chat can explain this to me, because you guys subscribe on this channel for free. Like, so I didn't realize people were subscribing, were like paid. Like, I don't know. I don't do the paid subscription thing. It's just kind of weird to me on YouTube. I don't know how they're doing that, but it sounds like he was also, paying his own money towards this.
Out of 1 billion views. I cannot send that $100 a month to TYT. As long as they're acting as if Donald Trump followers aren't the same people who are trying to kill me and my wife. And that is not hyperbole. I live in segregated world because I'm still getting death threats. The FBI had to get involved to get me my email back because I was hacked by these people. In real life, in this cycle, I've never thought I would say thank you to an FBI agent. The FBI agent called me and was like, "You're in danger. Your wife can't travel by herself." So these people, and out of love and respect for my wife, I'm obligated to do it today. I'm asking real questions. Cenk, Anna, and also TYT, what are we doing?
So let me just stop it there, and then I'll get to this tweet. This person made a point in the tweet that I think is really, really, really important. Something that I do want to say here. I think that some of the Black podcasters need to go out on their own. I've been feeling this way for quite some time. I get it. TYT gave you a foot in the door, but I think at some point you need to go out on your own. I never went through TYT. I've never even spoken to Cenk Uygur or Anna Kasparian. I've never spoken to Ben Dixon, who is, hosting this conversation here, but years ago, he blocked me on Twitter. I don't even know what happened. I don't even know why I'm blocked by Ben Dixon, but I've never even spoken to this dude. So there's that. But I think that, if I get it, he signed up for one thing and now it's becoming something else. I get that. And sometimes change ain't going to be for everybody. I totally get it. Got it. Because if that's not for you, you got to pack your bags and you got to go. Because the reality is the business is not going to change to accommodate you most of the time. So if the business makes a change that you disagree with, most of the time you got to pack your bags and go. Because Cenk and Anna are not going to change what they're doing. They picked a decision. They're going in that direction. So totally get that. That being said, I will say that the same way that TYT chose to shun those that are part of that MAGA crowd, they also chose to shun those that are to the left of them. Like I said earlier, I do not see them engage with people who are Marxists, who are communists, people to their left, to the left of them. So it seemed like they were trying to shut out people on both sides of that. You know what I mean? Like both ends of the spectrum. Like they did not want to engage with either one of those spaces, because if that were the case, they would realize that I think they're missing a lot of intelligent voices in the space that are smaller channels, and people don't know about them because they have not made their way to appear on TYT. And I think that's very unfortunate. There's a lot of gatekeeping in this space, and I think that it keeps talented people at bay. I really do. And I think sometimes that's on purpose. You guys see, I'll bring anybody on this show. I may not always agree with you. Just because you come on here don't mean I'm going to agree with you. But there does seem to be this type of combative feeling or energy in this space to where people feel like they got what they got and they got to hold on to their brand, and certain people they can't let come across and be a part of it because that may bring, their audience eyes to that person as well. And it just is the weirdest thing to me. I didn't realize it until I got into the space, but there's a lot of gatekeeping. But Mondale, if you feel you got to go, pack your bags and go. I get it. And I just don't feel like Cenk and Anna in the end, I think they're looking out for their bottom line. I think that this is really, what this is about. And I predicted this, like I said. Now, it even gets to the point where Dier, the Defiant, he tweeted this. He said, Cenk, between this and letting Anna entertain religious fascists, I feel like y'all have turned your backs on the marginalized and your core audience. I know you won't care that I've wrote this, but in chance you do read it, but we are disappearing in you, brother. I pray y'all come back. So this guy here, black guy, said this message here to Cenk Uygur saying, you guys turned your backs on the marginalized and the core of your audience. And this is why I say, again, I encourage Black commentators that are part of these larger networks to branch out on your own and make sure you have your own voice as well. Even all of us at RBN, we have our own thing that we do as well. So I think that's incredibly important. But that was interesting that he said that. And then there's this idea of the populist right. I want to bring this in. Emma Vigilant, she's really melting down over all this too. Listen to what she has to say about the switcheroos.
That's why I just get so triggered about this right-wing populism stuff, is because they're libertarians that want to privatize everything. They make this situation worse. Stop reinforcing the narrative that they're for the people as they loot the federal government for what they can within the short period of time that they're going to be able to be in power, like Trump did the first time. There's nothing new this time. The pain is still there, but people feel like they don't know where to go because the Democratic Party did a horrible job messaging it and didn't have a transformational agenda. They ceded the anger about this country to the right, which is insane. There's no reason that Donald Trump should have won this election. He wasn't offering anything on healthcare, anything on the economy. He's admitting now that his tariffs could cause prices to go up. But by default, he wins because they represented the status quo and people go, this sucks for me. If you're not speaking to that rage right now, you are setting us up for a complete backslide into fascism. So let's not pretend that there's any way that we can meet with the Republicans on this. It's not going to happen. We need to be in opposition to these folks and making it clear where they stand. Let's not do the work of obscuring what the Republican Party is really about, which is about privatizing our system even more. And it's the privatization that has led to this immiseration.
So these people, like, the people like the Emma Vigilant, the Majority Report gang or whatever, they stay in their bubble too. Like they're the different bubble from TYT, but they kind of stay in their own like hoity-toity bubble as well. Some of the things Emma said there, it makes sense. But at the same time, let's not sit here and pretend the Democratic Party is for the working people either, because they're not, Emma. That's why they lost. So what they want to do, they still want you to vote for one of those two parties. They don't really want to do anything outside of the two-party system because that's their moneymaker. People can say what they want about me, but this show has gone through a lot. I started this show in 2021 and it has not been easy. And I will tell you, I think the difference is the fact that I'm not going to sit up here and complain to you about the Democrats and then tell you still vote for those Democrats because you might get orange man. I'm not going to complain about the Republicans and say still vote for those Republicans because you see what I mean? That's the difference. They still are keeping you in this two-party system because that's what benefits them. So the anger and frustration that Emma has is because not only did Kamala lose and Emma predicted that she was going to win by a landslide. I don't know how she thought that one. That says something about you. That says something about part of this independent media space, that these individuals are not talking to everyday working class people. They're not out on the street. A lot of these people come from money. Emma Vigilant comes from money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them are millionaires. So if you had been out on the ground, like I was talking to people, you would have known that Donald Trump had the best chance to win this election, not Kamala Harris. So I think that there obviously are some changes that are happening. As I said earlier, it's all coming out. I think that TYT has decided to go in a certain direction. That's on them. You know, they're going to do what they want to do and what they feel is best in order for them to continue their brand. I don't know what that means for whatever could have been left of the so-called progressive movement, which no longer exists, as far as I can see. But I think that it is unfortunate that what could have been an even bigger movement than what it was at that time, I feel like it was co-opted by greed, pseudo fame, and people trying to build their brands. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.